We live?
No.
Okay. But are you ready too?
Yes, it's right. All
Okay.
right. We are on. We are on. We have our tea. Hello. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Come on in.
Pull
All
up a
are
chair,
welcome.
gather round.
Welcome to story time, girls
Yep.
and boys. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry about that. I try. I really do try. Let's see. So, have you all seen The Dark Crystal?
Not that we asked you to watch it, but it was kind of telepathic homework. Like, everyone needs to watch this before they come into the stream.
Oh, I gave them homework last night. I told them
good.
to watch it.
Good.
I said, Girls with Sabers has some homework for y'all. Now, did everyone come prepared?
Yep.
You know who the teacher is in the chat.
Yep.
Sorry. I remember watching this in my childhood, and it scared me to death. This was one of the TVs. There's always that show or that movie that you saw as a little kid that would be the nightmares, would cause the nightmares. This movie would cause nightmares within me. In fact, there was my next door neighbor would have The Dark Crystal on, playing like a marathon on a loop, and he loved it. But every time he had it on, I wouldn't want to come in the house. And so his mom would be like, "Turn off The Dark Crystal. You're scaring that little girl."
Oh my god. Ooh, put the Dark Crystal away. I see so many familiar people. I see some new people. People are heading back to school. Happy birthday. Happy first day of school. All mazel tov. Salutations.
Hello. Hello.
Everyone on 3, type Poe Dameron Rocks and at Ava Moss.
Yes. Yes. We must. We love you,
Yep.
Ava. We love you.
Yep.
All of our teasing is because we care.
Yes.
We care.
Ooh, we rib each other. Sorry, Milo. I just conked him in the head. All of our ribbing is in good fun. But everyone type Poe Dameron Rocks and add Ava Moss. Listen here, she says.
I love our community. It's just great.
So all right, great. So we got 39 watching. Might wait just a scotch more. People smash the like button. YouTube has a thing about that thumbs up. They want it.
They like the thumbs. They like the thumbs.
Genbu Nin, speaking of school, I'm currently trying to write an essay while listening to you guys. Oh, good luck.
Well, we hope we inspire some genius.
Yes. Ooh, look at that. That popped. Those likes popped. All right. Milo is situated right in front of my mic. Lying down. Perfection. Get it? Perfection.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad.
It's okay.
Hello there, everyone. All right. People are saying they can't hear you, Em.
Why? Okay, I'm going to hold the mic here. Let me know if you can still not hear me correctly. Can everyone hear me now? You can't hear
keep
at all.
talking, Em.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to turn this baby all the way up. No.
Still a little quiet.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to try.
Some people can hear you, some cannot. Can you just, is like your mouth right on it?
Yes, my mouth was literally right on it.
It said a bit lower than what it was. Some people said much better.
Is it better now?
Wow.
Better.
I'm hearing you the same.
Okay, it's better. It's better.
Okay, perfection.
Okay, good. So the trick was just to unplug your mic. Who knew that?
Oh my god. Crazy.
No mic works best for my voice.
Noted. All right, shall we dive into The Dark Crystal?
Yes. Do you have any childhood memories regarding The Dark Crystal, Luthien?
I don't. I barely remembered this film. So I had to rewatch it. I remembered bits and pieces. The thing that jumped at me the most was when Kira and Jen met each other, the dream fasting, which we'll get into, and of course how freakishly weird everything looked, and Fizzgig.
Yes.
Those are the things that
yes.
jumped out at me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we did watch it, and my mom was like, "What the heck is this?" You know, and
I think
quickly
all parents said that.
probably put something else on. I mean, yeah, just hi rural. Yeah. So, Max Winter's watching the Dark Crystal as he listens to us.
Wow.
Beautifulfulness.
Yeah.
Taylor Crone finally made it to a live chat. Awesome. Woo. Yes, Fizzgig is a fuzzy BB-8. But there are a lot of similarities between the Dark Crystal and Reylo. And we had a lot of subs come to us say, "Oh my gosh, can you do a podcast on this? Can you do a live stream?" So we said yes, but there are a few who have come before us, like way before us.
Yes.
We Were Jedi, of course, did a parallel of the Dark Crystal and Reylo. That video is no longer available, much like all of his videos are no longer available. So we would have linked that if we could. The other big one was done by Wit and Folly, and she did an amazing, amazing analysis of this. And that has 53,000 views on it. You guys, once we upload this live stream, we're going to link that video in our description. And if you haven't seen that, check it out. Her analysis, it was so good, so spot on.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out. And we weren't planning on doing this because of those two amazing analyses that were done already, but so many people asked us to. So that's why we're doing this right now. Not to get it over with, but just because people asked. So we're being nice, and we're gonna put our Girls with Sabers spin on it. So
it's all about community. It's all about community, and Wit and Folly is one of those.
Oh, right. Star Wars Connection covered it too. Emily Peterson just told us. Yep. Star Wars Connection covered it too.
We'll link that below.
Yep. All right, so let's get into this. Reylo, Kira, and Jen. For those of you who are not aware, The Dark Crystal came out in 1982. It's from Jim Henson and Frank Oz. Frank Oz, we already know, has a huge hand in the Star Wars universe. This came out prior to Labyrinth, and we felt like doing this live stream about Reylo and the Dark Crystal now is because the prequel to the Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, is dropping on Netflix this Friday. So we thought this would be the timing was right to talk about it. So in the beginning of the film, the narrator starts off explaining what this world is, and it is the planet of Thra. And he goes on to say 1,000 years prior to the time of this film, a magical crystal cracked, allowing two new races to come into being. The first being the Skeksis, and the second being the Mystics, or they're commonly known as the Mystics.
Mm-hmm.
And the Skeksis are malevolent, dark. They're the evil beings of this planet, and they use the Dark Crystal to replenish their lives, basically. And the Mystics, they're kind wizards. They practically do the opposite of what the Skeksis do. And the Skeksis, well, what's up on the screen right now is the Mystics, and they look like what the Skeksis would look like if they were good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Pudding Senpai just said it great. Skeksis equals Sith, and the Mystics would be the Jedi.
Right.
So it's the extremes, the good and the evil of this world, basically. And you have other beings on this planet. The main being on this planet were the Gelflings. So they're elvish humanoid type creatures, and they're pretty much the dominant race until this crystal cracks, bringing about the Skeksis, who you can see on the screen now. Emrys is putting it up, and the Mystics. Once the Skeksis start to dominate, they enforce, what was it? Gothram. They enforce the Gothram, which are these like robotic bug-looking entities, to wipe out the Gelflings. And once the Gelflings are wiped out, then they start wiping out other races. You have the Podlings, which are very much like hobbity type creatures, fun-loving, jovial. Meredith, thank you so much for the super chat. So happy to see you guys talking about the Dark Crystal. I was one of the people who emailed you about it. Oh, that's right. Yes. Love you guys. Thank you so much, Meredith, for the super chat and for the email. Yep. Girls with Sabers talking Dark Crystal. Thank you so much. Yes, Podlings were weird. The whole movie was weird. But you have these main races on the planet of Thra. So the Gelflings are wiped out, all except for two, a male and a female. The male you have Jen, and the female you have is Kira. Both had very different upbringings. Female Gelflings have wings, and it allows them to glide from high places. So you see throughout the movie, yep, there's Jen on the left, the male Gelfling. And soon Emrys will put up Kira. Yep, you see Kira right there in the gossamer wings. She is the female. Only the females have wings. And she can carry someone with little difficulty and glide with these wings. They probably, when we'll see this in Age of Resistance, they were able to fly much better. Yeah. Those wings were more purposeful. Now they keep them hidden, and it's really just to glide.
I love that. I love
go ahead.
Jen's response to that is he looks at her and goes, "Oh, you have wings. Why don't I have wings?" And she's like, "Oh, silly, only girls have wings."
Yeah.
I just love that.
What I love about Jen is we meet him after we get the synopsis from the narrator of all that's going on, and you see the Skeksis there. What's happening is this great conjunction, which is three suns converging in the sky, and it's supposed to be this harbinger of doom. Once they come together, evil will rule the land, basically. And the master mystic or whatever tells Jen that it is prophesied that he will find the shard that is missing from this crystal and put it back and heal the land and save the whole planet. So you see this master mystic pass away, and Jen is there to witness this. And once he passes away, the main Skeksis emperor, I think they call him, also passes away, and as the mystic dies, he fades away like, a force, a Jedi would. The Skeksis, Emperor Skeksis, when he passes away, he just corrodes and into dust, like he's
and that was the scene that
eroding
freaked
away
me out as a kid. Like it was imprinted in my brain of this guy just crumbling to dust. If you look at or listen to the introduction of how they were describing these two mystics, you can see and say the other one for me. The begins with an S. I can't remember. Forgive me, guys. I've been out all day and my brain is catching up. The villains, is it Skeksis?
Skeksis, yeah.
Yes, okay.
It's singular and plural.
Okay. Where it talks, you listen to it and it sounds just like the Sith. That they are there to basically kill all of life. That they're there, and if they exist, all life will be extinguished. And you see that in the Sith code. I mean, even the Siths believe that there can only be the master and the apprentice, and at one point in time, either the apprentice will kill the master, or the master will just survive and all of life will extinguish itself. So you have this very polar opposite philosophies of these two classes of people that are completely Jedi and Sith parallels.
So the narrator's explaining all of this in the beginning of the film. You have the Skeksis, they're pretty much, and even Jim Henson said this about the Skeksis, that they are supposed to represent the 7 deadly sins. And then you have the mystics, who can also represent what the Jedi kind of do, as the extreme of the light. So we get past all this, and we see Jen. And what I find creepy is when we're introduced to Jen, which oddly enough rhymes with Ren and Ben, he's naked in this wooded garden area playing the pan flute. I'm like, really? Really, you're gonna introduce him? I don't have that picture here. But
sorry.
I'm like, really? He's gonna be naked? Like, that's the first thing we see of him. I know he's this elf entity, but honest to God, that was creepy.
Well, I believe they were trying to allude to Pan, the Greek god.
Yes,
Pan.
I think they were.
You know, he's the god of the wild, the shepherds and the flocks, and he's the one that plays the panpipe. So you have that almost Peter Pan immaturity that has never fully grown up, who has never fully taken his first step on his quest. I was also listening to Gelfling, and I know it's the pod people are more the Hobbit-like people, but when I hear Gelfling, I hear halfling. So I wonder if the Gelflings were very much inspired by Tolkien's halflings, the Hobbit race of the story, because it's the small person, it's the hobbits that are given the purpose of destroying the One Ring, where it's these Gelflings that were given the purpose of.
Well, it's really Elfling with a G.
Yeah.
So he just really didn't want to use elf, so he used Gelfling. It's really original, Jim. Okay, so. Well. Jen was raised by the main mystic. He is our main protagonist. We find out that he is at the heart of this prophecy now that the narrator states in the very beginning of the story. 1,000 years have passed, and now once more the world must undergo a time of testing. Now it must be healed or pass forever into the night of evil. At this time, Jen is the chosen one. So he is referred to as the chosen one in this story. And who else is referred to as chosen ones in our analysis and in Star Wars right now? It is Ben Solo and Rey, the dual protagonists. So we see Jen, the mystic, tells him to find this shard, and he needs to go find Aughra. And Aughra is this, I wouldn't say she's the Oracle, but she has been around for a very long time. I say she because she has mammaries, but it could, I think she's supposed to be gender fluid.
I believe she's the mentor and the goddess in this situation. Because basically she gives him what he needs. She provides him the wisdom of what he's going to have to do, and she arms the hero. The arming of the hero is also the job
arms it.
Of the goddess. The goddess usually brings the hero what he needs at the time he needs it. Now, he may not realize what he has to do with that object, but that is part of Jen's story, is what do I do now with this crystal shard?
Yep.
How do I meet my purpose?
Yep, and she actually has the shard, so she ends up kind of testing him. Allison coming in with a super chat. Thank you so much. Sip again. She comes in with the big old expensive sip right there. Thank you so much, Allison.
That is one big gulp.
It sure is. They say you're going quiet again.
Oh gosh, I'm trying, folks. I'm so sorry. Let's see what I can do here.
So Jen wanders looking for Agra. She finally captures him, and she didn't know there was any Gelfling left after the Garthram War. And after Jen tells her that he was sent to retrieve the crystal, she takes him to her observatory, and she explains the Great Conjunction, what is happening, and she gives him more understanding about what's going on, even though he's standing there like, I don't understand. What Jen reminds me of is that meme of Andrea from The Walking Dead, where she's with the governor and she's like, Governor bad? I don't get it. Like, Andrea was the last person to understand the governor was. Kira? What's dream fasting? You have wings? I mean,
well, I think Jen.
Sometimes, but he's supposed to be have this awakening. I mean, he's pretty much waking up to who he is and what a Gelfling is, basically.
Right, and Jen usually means pure and white.
Yes.
So I think they went to the extreme of that,
Yes.
where here he is, the Pan in the woods, but he's also a babe in the woods. He has no idea what's going on. And it's interesting that the female Gelfling actually has more wisdom and understanding of her own race than he does.
Yes, she does. So Agra explains the Great Conjunction to Jen. She also tells Jen that he needs to use the shard to heal the Dark Crystal. And she produces the box of all these shards. And she tells Jen she's unsure of which one is the missing shard to the crystal. So he does have magical wisdom to him. It's almost as if he can feel it in the force. Sorry, can you guys hear me a bit better? Just let me know if you guys can hear me.
Let her know if you can hear. Does that work?
I have a lot of echo.
Not on my end, you don't. Let us know. Yes, we hear you. Okay.
Yes?
Continue, Luthien.
Okay, perfect. I'm still getting the bounce back. I think it's from something you did. Because I didn't touch anything.
I don't know what to do on your end, because on my end there's no bounce. Yeah, there's no echo from on their end too.
Okay.
So it's probably something you're hearing, but it's on your end and it's my end that the sound travels through. So we're okay.
Okay, they're saying both are good.
Yeah.
So Jen uses his flute to determine which one is the true shard, and he ends up finding it, and he takes it, and at this moment the Gothram come and they're destroying the observatory. They're trying to find Jen. We find out that this chancellor, or this Chamberlain Skeksis creature, was banished from the Crystal Castle, and he then, to try to get back into the good graces, is stalking Jen. So Gothram are sent. The Skeksis can see into the crystal. They see Jen's on his way. They send to Gothram. They tear over the observatory. They capture Agra, but Jen gets away. So on his flight away...
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but
that's okay.
Are you going to go back to the pan whistle and the 2 crystal shards and the song that he has to play?
Yeah, I just said he had to use the flute in order to discern.
I think that is very much like a Padawan finding his first Kyber crystal. That the Padawan hears the crystal and the sound resonates. So the shard, this true shard, had to resonate with Jin. It had to be the perfect chalice.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, continue.
That's all right. I'm kind of blowing through this because I want to get to dream fasting so badly.
I mean, that's the Reylo.
Yes,
that's the Reylo
crystal. It has this hum to it. The crystal calls to him once he plays his flute, and the tones match. So very, very similar to when a crystal calls to a Jedi. So Jen flees. He gets into this other wooded area, and he ends up seeing Fizzgig, which is this little creature. He kind of reminds me of Animal from Muppet Babies.
That is so true.
Yep. And which, shocker, Jim Henson. So he gets startled by Fizzgig, and he falls into this water. And then that's when we are introduced to Kira. And Kira was to be Rey's original name. Most of us know that already, but for those who haven't, Kira was supposed to be Rey's original name, and they changed it. So Kira is a female Gelfling. She has wings. She can glide with them. She comes around the corner, and she also has only ever thought she was the last Gelfling. She has never met another since her mother hid her during the Gothram War. So her mother hid her. Her mother was taken. And then she was an orphan. She wandered for a bit, and she stumbled onto a band of podlings, and they took her in and they raised her. So she was raised by the podlings. She can communicate with animals. We see that right away. She communicates with Fizzgig, and she also communicates with an entity that helps Jen out of the river muck. She is what Rey is. She is courageous, and she is kind, and she has such tenacity about her. And she's my favorite out of the whole entire film.
Yes, I agree.
Yep, I like her very, very much.
She has so much maturity.
Yes, she's more mature than Jen is.
Yes, most definitely. Mm-hmm. And I believe Kira means pure as well. So you have that theme of these 2 heroes being very pure at heart, being the person that can achieve the balance, are 2 pure individuals. And that's so much in our mythic language, that only the good of heart, the only pure of heart can be the one that saves the day. Yes.
So she starts talking to Jen, and she goes, "Let me help you." The minute she reaches her hand out and he reaches his hand to her, they connect, and they have what Kira describes afterward as a dream fast. And oh my God, it is Reylo all over the place. I mean, all over the place. I'm just trying to get to my other notes. So, dream fasting, and once they dream fast, they have this montage of past memories where you see what happened when they were small and the Gothram War and the effects of that. And you see Kira going to be with the podlings, and you see the Master Mystic raise Jen. So it's this montage back and forth of memories, and then it comes back to them, and then they unlock the hands again. So the dream fasting is a way of sharing the memories. The memories are communicated to the two Gelflings in a stream of consciousness. So it's they had to have taken Revan and Bastila and Jen and Kira and just combined them.
Absolutely.
For Reylo.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it that's what Ben saw. Ben saw the past. Rey saw the future, and we see Ben. I hope they in some ways visualize what Ben and Rey saw when they touched hands.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could get a vision similar to what Ben saw, or I'm sorry, what Jen saw about past and Kira's past, I think it would be so powerful if we saw that from the audience perspective, that we saw from with our own eyes what it was like for Rey to experience what she did going through the trials of Jakku. And if we can experience exactly what Rey saw, that made her go in that coffin pod and completely forget everything that Kylo has done in the past, and store so much hope in him. Because I think of that in the entire movie, that was the sweetest scene. That was like the gem of the movie. And I think the writers of Star Wars knew, why don't we take that gem, that crystal of the Dark Crystal, and put it in our movie instead of our movie? Because it was very touching the way that they did it.
Again, people in the chat were saying that Kira is so comforting and zen and calm, and her whole entire character has that effect on the viewer. That's why I love her so much. And so confident yet sweet and loving.
So the goddess,
yes,
the goddess is the one that calms and collects the hero so he can do what he needs to do. It's that femininity that allows the person at ease. It's interesting because the saying that beauty calms the savage beast is actually beauty calms the savage. I'm going to just spell it BREAST, meaning heart, meaning that the beauty there, a person who is calm and beautiful, the goddess can calm the beast, the heart of the beast inside. And another thing I was thinking when you were talking about this is, if they named him Ben and they originally named her Kira, this finger touching scene in The Last Jedi had to be pre-constructed.
Oh, amen. I mean, absolutely.
Ryan, I mean, I can just see J.J. Abrams saying, we want a finger touching scene like we did in The Dark Crystal, and that's one of the check marks that they had to have in the second movie. It had to. There's just too many coincidences for it not to have been pre-planned.
Thanks for stopping by, Jennifer. Thanks for smashing the like button.
Bye,
appreciate
Jennifer.
You. So we get that dream fasting, and it's amazeballs. And now we have the Chamberlain still kind of stalking them. Kira now takes Jen to the Podling village. And where she grew up, they get there, there's a feast. She is explaining more things to him, but the Garthim catch up to them, and they're just laying waste to this Podling town and capturing the Podlings, and we come to find out what happened to the Gelflings and what is happening to the Podlings. So they flee this village, and then they go to the house of the Old Ones and discover the Wall of Destiny. And it's there that they both realize they must take the true shard to the castle of the Dark Crystal during the third Great Conjunction to save Thra. So they need to place the shard back into the crystal. But that Chamberlain guy, that Chamberlain Skeksis, confronts them at the Wall of Destiny because he's been following them, and he's the snake that's charming them. He's trying to charm them into a peace agreement, and Jen doesn't know what to think, but Kira sees through it right away.
Oh, yeah.
And she completely does not trust him. So yes, that Chamberlain is very Snoke-like. Very Snoke-like.
I will never
go ahead.
Again. I will never go, again.
Oh, right?
It
seemed like that's all he did.
It's really high pitched. I'm like, I'm never going to do that ever again. I'm never going to go,
really? Yeah, Kira was no dummy, that's right. So she calls forth, since she's able to talk to animals, she has this beautiful voice and song. She calls forth what are called the Land Striders, which look crazy. And sorry I didn't get a picture of them, but she takes them, her and Jen escape on the Land Striders, Fizzgig too, can't forget about Fizzgig, and they make it to the Castle of the Crystal. So with the help of the Land Striders, Kira and Jen fight off the Garthim that are standing watch and protecting the castle. And they're able to sneak in through this other passage, basically. But they get separated. Kira gets captured, and now she is being held hostage. We end up finding out that the Skeksis are using the shard to take and suck the life out of, not only did they do this to all the Gelflings, they are now doing this to the Podlings. What's happening with the Podlings is that they are not magical enough. Their essence does not last. So when a Skeksis is drinking the essence of the Podlings, he becomes younger, or he or she become a younger. It's almost like a fountain of youth, but it doesn't last because the Podlings aren't magical enough. It lasted so long with the Gelflings, but now we only have 2 Gelflings left. So Kira gets caught. The Chamberlain brings her, and then they start to take the life from her. Meanwhile, Jen has been knocked out by a rock pile. Something happened. There was a fight, and he got knocked out. So Fizzgig is with him still. Kira gets captured. The essence starts draining from her because they're trying to take it. Yes, they're basically like vampires. But Aughra was also captured. She is witnessing this, and she tells Kira to fight back, fight for herself, fight for Jen. They have to put the shard back. So she sings this song and uses her powers to summon all the animals that have been captured in this area as well. And they break out and distract the Skeksis that are in this chamber of life, and she gets free. So her essence has not been fully taken, so she's fine. In the chaos, one of the Skeksis is thrown down into this pit of fire, the lake of fire, and we see when he dies, his counterpart of the mystics, who are now traveling to the Crystal Palace, dies or disappears in a flash. So the Skeksis and the mystics are connected.
Mm-hmm.
So Kira now flees to the Crystal Chamber, and she has the shard. So finally, the mystics are coming all around. Kira's in the chamber. Jen ends up coming out of the rubble, and he's into the crystal chamber as well. She is trying to fly, but she can't. She's being surrounded by the Skeksis. And you're right, it was only the scientist Skeksis in the Chamber of Life. Sorry, I'm getting my Skeksis mixed up. But anyway, so as she's trying to get the shard to Jen, who is now, he is on top of the dark crystal, she is stabbed. So as she is dying, she throws the shard to Jen. And right as the conjunction is happening, Jen puts the shard back into the crystal and saves the day, basically, in a nutshell. So, because of Kira's sacrifice, Jen is able to heal the crystal, and we find and we see once he heals it that the Skeksis that are left and the mystics that are left combine into one entity that they had always been. I think they're called Urskeks, if I'm remembering correct. They are Urskeks, and they're basically I don't even know how to describe them. Their heads are weird. They're ethereal looking. I would describe them like they're the Wills.
They look a lot like the Force to me. The Mortis
Yes.
arc of the Force. Let me get a picture really fast and
Yeah.
get it up there.
So they explain to grieving Jen, who's holding Kira's lifeless body on the ground, what he's done. And hi, Yova. Oh, hi, Dale. Oh, a lot of our mods are in here now with Rural. Yay, hi. So they're explaining all of this to Jen, and they're grateful to him. And since they are grateful, they are willing to restore Kira's life. But they need Jen. They tell Jen, hold her to you. She is part of you, as we are a part of each other. And as he's holding her, I think it's his essence that helps bring her back. Would you agree, Em?
Yes.
Yeah. So she comes back to life, basically. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. And you see after the dark crystal has been the shard has been put back, the whole entire landscape now becomes fertile again, and the Crystal Palace is now white and beautiful, and everything is sunny and gorgeous, and Thra has been saved.
It reminds me so much when the first words that were uttered in this show reminded me so much of the trailer of the Rise of Skywalker. It just, because it has that thousands of generations live in you vibe. It says that there is a prophecy. 1,000 years have passed. 1,000 generations live in you now. And if you think of the war between the Jedi and the Sith and the 1,000 of generations that have warred against each other, and how the Force has longed for balance. And that's exactly what I think it's Urskeks is it's a balance of those two entities. The Force itself, that is the father of the Force, the figure, the Mortis god of the Force. But the prophecy continues. Now, once more, the world must undergo a time of testing. Now it must be healed or pass forever in the rule of evil. So you have Palpatine, who's basically the last emperor, coming up, wanting to basically spread this galaxy in darkness. But it's only these two people, the Ben and Rey, the Kira and Jen of this galaxy, who are going to heal the galaxy. And isn't it beautiful that shard, that crystal shard that made Anakin's saber, is now cracked, just like that main crystal in that I'm trying to think of the words. Forgive me, guys. That chapel that they had to heal. Well, I believe the only way that Anakin's journey can be completely filled, where there is a resolution of that journey, is when Ben and Rey healed that crystal, and then that healing spreads to the galaxy. Just like Mustafar, we believe Mustafar itself is going to be healed. And it's just such a beautiful parallel. I can't believe it.
What's great is there's my brief synopsis of the Dark Crystal. And then there's that. Bravo, friend. Freaking oh.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm basically living on fumes of tea right now. Friends, this is proof of the importance of the antioxidants of drinking tea.
Yes. Any questions from anyone now that we just gave a Cliff Notes version of the Dark Crystal? From Milo, I know you love it too.
He's like, my favorite is Fizz Whiz.
Fizzgig, yeah, exactly.
See, I told you, fumes.
Yep.
Fumes
From the way they meet in the woods, and where did Ben and Rey meet in the woods, to the dream fasting, to the Kira sacrificing herself so Jen can restore the crystal, all of it, to Jen holding on to her and helping to bring her back. I would not be surprised if Rey got hurt and Rey died. Or vice versa. And Ben died. What's going to be beautiful is that both of them are going to live, whether they're ruling the galaxy or they're off on Naboo or Ahch-To or wherever, but nowhere where there's sand. They're going to be together. There's too many parallels here for them not to be together. And now that they're bonded in this way, and I'm talking Rey and Ben, if one dies, the other would not be able to stand it.
I agree. And in fact,
Ava Moss just said the same thing.
Yeah, you guys are in sync right now, and that's one of the reasons why they cannot die.
Yeah.
Because then there would no longer be balance.
Yep.
It would fling them into imbalance again. They're incomplete without each other.
Yeah. It was a really interesting movie. I don't think I would watch it again, but the parallels are unmistakable.
It will be really interesting to see what they do with the prequels, because you can tell that the creators of the Dark Crystal had something much more grand in mind, but the technology and the duration of time, they could only do so much. So with the whole series in the future, I think that this has just a strong premise that it'll probably make a really cool new fantasy world to engage in. So Netflix, if you want to sponsor Girls with Sabers, let us know.
Pretty please.
Please.
Yeah, guys.
A lot of people
ask away. We're probably going to go for another 10 minutes or so. So ask any questions that you got. But we will assuage any fears. Ben and Rey are not dying. They can't. Because if one dies, the other will have to as well.
A lot of people are asking if Dark Rey is a clone. I
saw a lot of that. And Christopher Barker was one of those who brought that up. We had a lot of people ask us that today. wanting us to mention that in this stream. What are your thoughts, Emrys?
No. I just think I just think that would be lazy writing myself. That's to me that's an easy answer or an easy way of doing something like that. That's what you do in cartoons and things of that nature. It's like it's a clone, or it's just a dream, or thoughts and ideas about that. To me, I think it is much more interesting if what we're seeing is a psychological projection in Ben's cave scenario, or some sort of like his a worst nightmare coming true. What do you think, Luthien?
I think it's plausible that she could be a clone, and I think that could be a story that could be told from a very interesting point of view. Do I think that's what we're going to get? I agree with you. No, I don't think that's what it will be. Rey needs to be uniquely herself.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're a clone, that's a whole nother avenue that I just don't know if we have time for it. I feel that this dark Rey either is a vision or she's being possessed or manipulated. There's so much plausibility there for different things to be happening, but I don't think a clone is one of them. I will eat my words if we're wrong.
Oh, yeah.
If we're wrong, I would love to see it played out where it makes sense to the narrative that we're getting. But I agree. I think it's a bit lazy. We can do more than just being clones. What I do think is interesting, I don't want many Reys out there. If she is a clone, one of the only things I could accept is that there's only one other clone left of her. And that clone is Palpatine's right hand, and that clone is dark. I think that's the only thing I would be able to accept. Not that I think anyone else's theory is wrong or unjustified or this, that, or the other thing. Everyone's entitled to their theories.
Exactly.
What we're talking about are just theories and analysis and speculations.
Yeah.
So I'm not putting down anyone's thought or theory of if she's a clone. Well, that's just not well thought out at all. No, that's not what I'm saying. What Emrys and I are saying is that that's just not how we see this going. But that's not to say that if that is what is going on, that can't be told well and make sense.
It can't be told well where we are now. I don't
think it could be.
And that's why I'm saying that's just a lazy way to get that in there. You know, if that was something that we saw, a phantom, a hint, something that was building from The Force Awakens, then, well, yeah, I mean, that would be a really interesting storyline. But it would just be coming out of nowhere. Palpatine was hinted at in The Force Awakens and in The Last Jedi. You could hear Palpatine's theme and Snoke's theme and things of that nature. There were hints, there were glints. If Rey is a clone, it makes no sense. And that's what I'm just saying from a looking at it like a plot structure. I couldn't see it. Now, could I be wrong? Can someone take me through Force Awakens and The Last Jedi and go here?
If it is not a vision, sorry to interrupt you.
Pie.
Yeah, if it's not a vision, then it could be a glimmer or a glamour. It could be someone standing there that Palpatine is manipulating how they look, or that entity themselves is manipulating how they look. So it's tricking Ben or tricking Rey herself. I mean, I don't think it's a clone.
I think John Boyega says it best, where don't read too much into Dark Ray.
Right,
I
exactly. And
think,
that's what makes me think it's a vision.
yeah, I think I think it was just one thing that they added because they
Yep.
knew it would cause a lot of discussion and build up and controversy, and that's free advertising for Lucasfilm.
Exactly.
I think it's going to be something that's going to happen in a blink of an eye, and it really is not going to develop other than something that will be an interesting spectacle or a psychological um, revelation. I
Can
really
you
love,
imagine how much psychological warfare Sidious could do?
yeah,
I mean, that could even be a cave moment manipulation.
exactly.
He could even be manipulating that type of moment. So, yeah, I
Or,
just.
or it could be a maze, like they're going through the Death Star. What if the Death Star is almost like a one
It's
of
a
those
house of horrors.
mazes? Yeah, of
Hmm.
meeting the, oh, I can't remember
It's the Hall of Mirrors.
the maze, and at the middle there's that in the Greek myth. Guys, forgive me, but there is
The fleece. The golden fleece.
not, but it's the actual bull, the god that's like a
Oh,
bull
right. I know what you're talking.
that you meet in the middle, and you go through the maze. Well, when you go through the maze, you go through all sorts of level of
Minotaur.
tests. Minotaurs,
Yes.
thank you
Yes.
so much. Oh, my tea didn't save me, but my twin did.
Well,
That you
everyone
have,
said it at the same time I did. And anytime I think of Minotaur, I think of
yeah.
role models. Minotaur!
But you
Sorry.
have through all of those maze choices, and what if they go through that Death Star and they see all of these histories and what could be's and things and ours, like all of these mirrors of reflections where they don't know if it's real, true, the past, present, or the future. And what if that Death Star is a plug-in to the world between worlds? So what they're seeing is parallel planes, past, present, future. I might just be going on
No, you're onto
the
something. Just
train
like I
of
said yesterday.
cray
Just
cray.
like, that's okay. Just like I said yesterday, where it's Galadriel's mirror.
Yeah,
Things that were, things that are, and some
and
things
things that,
have
yeah,
not yet come to pass. You see Frodo look in that mirror and see the scouring of the Shire, and that hasn't come to pass yet. It's something that could be, but this is what will happen if Sauron wins.
yeah.
So Dark Ray could be that vision of what could happen if you fail.
Or what if Ray sees it? What if
Yes.
Ray sees that in herself? What if there's a level of arrogance that she has where I could never go dark like Ben Solo did, and then all of a sudden she runs into an alter ego of herself. There's so many possibilities. There's so many things that we can see they can do with this.
I think it's that moment that it really felt, and even the music felt like when Luke was in the dark side cave and Vader came forward.
Yeah.
I really feel Ben is having this moment where he's walking around and then Dark Ray steps forward and he has to face her. Or Ray herself, maybe. But I feel she already had her cave moment, you know?
Well, it could be
So who knows? They could be together.
they're
And one of
facing it
our,
together. Yeah.
not to cut you off, but I told her we would get to this, and I really, really want to get to it. On Twitter, we had a wonderful DM from such a strange girl. So at Ginger71. And she said, I wish people would notice this. I must have watched the sizzle reel 100 times already. My eyes are drawn to it while everyone else is looking at her awesome saber. And what she's describing, and I wish I could have taken a screenshot of this, but off to the right, and she lightened this as much as she could with her software. You see two outlines of bodies standing next to each other, what possibly looks like a man's body and what possibly looks like a female body. And she speculated that could this be Rey's parents? Is this what Ben saw when they touched hands? And, then my mind was blown, and then I told her, sorry, we didn't get to it yesterday, but you can kind of see, if you lighten it up, you see that outline of bodies. And I know the human mind is conditioned to see faces and bodies and, tree limbs and shadows and stuff. But if she is onto something, so thank you so much for DMing us. If she is onto something, then it is possible that Ben and Rey are looking into the world between worlds and in this mirror at this moment. Yeah. But also, John Boy, like I said, don't read too much into it. Yeah. But that's interesting to think about, if it's not just Ben, if it's the two of them standing there and they're looking at, this is what is going to happen if you don't succeed. Yeah. They could be with the oracle that was mentioned in some of these leaks. They could be with this oracle, and this oracle is stating all of this. Who knows?
I'm going to put that photo that she sent.
Oh, you got it. Perfect.
In there, so people can see what they were talking
Some
about.
behind the scenes news. I don't control anything. That's all, Emrys. I'm just watching the chat
now
scroll.
You know who to blame.
Yep.
It's all me.
I am not tech hands-on. I just don't have the capability right now. There we are.
I know you have a black... Yeah, there we go. Yep. But yeah, you see she kindly put arrows between... Yes. Sorry for that sudden movement, guys. I hope I don't make anyone dizzy. But you see those two figures right there.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think in the comments? Do you guys see two figures, or what do you think we're seeing there? You also had that behind the scenes where they saw a similar thing where you saw two people embracing. Do you remember? It was one of when Tros was wrapped for the first time. People found a similar picture with two figures embracing, and we're wondering if it was Kylo and Rey with Hux in the shadows.
It is blurry. A lot of people can't tell what it is. Are they able to see your cursor on the screen?
No, they're not, but I'm going to blow it up.
If you can see, if you go right to the middle of the picture, like look at where Rey's sabers are. If you go to the right and you go towards those arrows down, you can see possibly what look like shoulders, like a head of the man on the right. And then down below, it looks like the female shoulders. It is very blurry. I almost think that it's just lighting. And again, that we are conditioned to see faces. We're conditioned to see body outlines. So, yeah, it could be anything. It's very blurry. But we'll just have to wait and see. That's pretty much what I say to everyone now. I'm like, oh man, we'll just have to wait and see.
Everything's possible. Everything is possible. We say, no, that won't happen. And then JJ and KK laugh in the corner at us.
Her outfit, though, during that dark Rey scene, it looks like something Leia would wear, Padme would wear, and that's why I'm thinking that this could be a morphing moment too, where there's Ben seeing all the women in his life, like almost dark side versions of them, and then it ends with dark side Rey. I mean, who knows? I just can't wait. I can't freaking wait.
Can't either.
Ugh.
Malcolm says, does anyone think it looks like Padme's dress? I think it definitely looks like her dress. The cut of the sleeves, the Empire waist with that belt, and the way that the hood is cut looks very much like the cape that she wore when she was pregnant with Luke and Leia. See if I can find a picture of that too. Sorry, these things weren't...
Vanessa just said, imagine seeing Ben in white. Oh, I still think there's white underneath his outfit somewhere.
Yeah, I think so too.
Somehow, somewhere, that dude has white, just like Luke did in the Yova!
What did Yova say?
Rey is pregnant with Ben.
Oh, no.
That's it.
No.
That's it. That's the MacGuffin.
Peace, love, and Reylo, y'all.
Yep. Thank you so much for watching. Oh my gosh. Wouldn't that just be the end all? Rey is actually Ben's mom. I can't. Reylo is canon. Diminished, I really want the girls to see that slowed down GIF. What GIF?
Send it
Put
over.
a link. Mods, let a link through. Put a link to this GIF. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. I'm going to take one last question and then we'll have to bounce. Oh, did anyone else see Kylo's cape in the bottom right of the picture? Am I the only one? Is it the picture we just put up, Diminished? Don't know what... Unless it's the picture we just showed. Could be Kylo's cape.
Could be anyone's cape.
There's another. Your super chat got ignored. Not on purpose, man. Hold on.
No.
I'm going back up. That'll be the last thing we do. Super chat right now. Where to go?
The Dark Crystal did something to our minds.
Yeah, it did.
We haven't ever been the same.
My brain still has not recovered.
Someone, I think it was Anthea. Anthea made a really cool comment, and I caught it. So, Anthea said that she believes the Death Star may have a whole bunch of force caves. Like multiple force caves that they have to go through, meaning multiple trials. That would be interesting.
Such a strange girl is in here. Hi, thank you so much for your DM. I'm glad I got to it. There is another. I am not able to bounce up to your super chat. Em, are you able to see it?
I'm going to go to it.
Okay. While Em's going to the super chat, there's another. We're going to get to that, I promise. Yova said Rey's father has to be a Kenobi. And here's my take on that. I am perfectly fine with Rey not being of any type of lineage like that. But here's what we're getting. We have always gotten a lot of interesting parallels between Rey and Ben's relationship and Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to see if Rey is Obi-Wan Kenobi's granddaughter or some type of lineage thereof, that would really mend the rift that was between a Kenobi and a Skywalker. Because what happened at the end of Revenge of the Sith was life-shattering, not only for Anakin, but for Obi-Wan. You were my brother, Anakin. You were my brother. And that whole fight, we're getting the parallel of Rey and Ben on that spire and surrounded by water. And now we have, or we did have Obi-Wan and Anakin dueling around fire. And what's fire's complement? Water. So I am all for Rey being a Kenobi. I really am. And I think it would add to the narrative. It would certainly bring about the peace between Obi-Wan and Anakin that those bloodlines need, because they never really got it. And Darth Vader killed Obi-Wan, not Anakin. There was a lot of hatred to that, but I think it would heal that rift. It would also help heal Mustafar as well. Were you able to find there's another super chat?
I'm looking at it right now. So
okay.
Hold on. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
You have to go back. And I apologize. There is another. We never mean to leave or not read something.
It certainly does make the Kenobi show a lot more interesting. And now that we're going to see that space of time between Obi-Wan leaving Luke with Owen and Beru and being on Tatooine. It will be very, very interesting to see. It'll definitely make it more interesting.
I just, the reason that I was a Rey Kenobi girl. That was my biggest hope and desire when I saw The Force Awakens. I was, yes, this is the truth. This is what's going to happen. And I see the poetry and I see the rhythm and I see all of it. Like, it would just be a beautiful full circle and reflection. Like, I can't stress how beautiful that would be, that the granddaughter of Kenobi could be the one that heals the grandson of Anakin. I mean, but at the same time, I go back to what Rian Johnson said about that mirror cave, and when Rey touches that mirror, giving her the answer that she is the granddaughter, and he uses that word, the granddaughter, or the daughter of someone of known who or recognized, or someone grand who has a grand force power legacy, would be the easy answer. To me, I love the idea, and this is to me, I love the idea of Rey coming from no one, where there's nothing about her birth or her lineage that makes her special. It's the fact that Rey herself is special. It's the fact that a prince can look upon a scavenger and realizes that the whole fate of the galaxy is in her hands. To me, I think that's beautiful. I also think it's that yin yang where Ben has legacy, Rey doesn't. To me, there's so much more impact and substance to the idea if we leave Rey as being the child of no one special. And it was just the fact that the Force decided to smile upon her. Smile upon someone that it didn't create, that was not given the name of a chosen one, but because of her love for Ben Solo and because of who she is as a person, she becomes the most important person in all of creation.
Maria just said it best: Kenobi or nobody. I'm fine with both, and I agree with that. I agree with everything you just said, Emrys.
There is another,
like Pablo Hidalgo said, he alluded to that. There's more to her lineage. That could mean that her drunkard parents weren't actually her parents. Like I said before, her parents could have been two people who are just trying to escape the stormtrooper program, and they thought they were doing the right thing.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
God bless you.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
guess. Are you alive?
Yeah, I'm good. It could be as simple as that. She could find out that her parents made one of the ultimate sacrifices and thought what they were doing was right. But again, I think no matter what, I think we're going to be satisfied no matter what happens. Of course, we all want certain things for these characters. But come December 20th, we're going to find out, and I think it's going to be okay. I really do. Emrys didn't turn her volume down. She backed away from her mic because she had to sneeze.
Yes. And you didn't want to hear that fully in the mic. That would have not been a good thing.
So let's end now with there is another super chat if you were able to find it.
I was not. So there is another. Would you please copy that super chat for us? Like, what were you asking? And we will get to it post haste. I wonder
First off, thank you so much for the super chat.
Yes.
Second, if you can just repost the question, we will get to it immediately when you post it to us.
We apologize. There is just a lot going on. And it's very easy to miss something, but we never want to miss anybody's question or anything.
Yes. We thank all of you for your questions and for your super chats and for your emails and your DMs and your likes and your follows. It's humbling, to say the least.
Oh, he says, I simply threw out the idea of Darkseid Rey actually being a twin sister named Kira, and she's Palpatine's new apprentice. That could be interesting. A Darkseid twin. We'll have to see, right? Anything's possible.
Yeah, anything is plausible right now. That's for sure. Over the last weekend, like this past weekend, I can't feel my brain. And I'm preparing for the Dark Crystal thing tonight. I just can't feel my brain.
I can't, yeah.
My brain space is at max capacity. In a good way. I'm just walking around like in a fog.
I was all day at the doctor's office, and we're talking all day. So, I don't know about you guys, but when you're in a waiting room for hours, it's just like it's like the chamber in The Princess Bride. I just soaked, 20 years of your life away. So,
yeah. The pit of despair.
The pit of despair. Don't even think about trying to escape.
Don't even think about trying to escape.
Oh, if you haven't seen The Princess Bride, that's another 80s movie that you really need to go watch. Like, seriously. Go stream it. Get some popcorn, get some pizza, and some Pepsi or whatever you drink, and just have a ball, because that is one of the classics that you need to see. If you haven't seen Princess Bride, go see Princess Bride. I'm just repeating myself like a crazy woman. I apologize.
On that note, we are going to end the stream. Everyone should go watch The Princess Bride. I just saw Jared Bachman Stubbs enter the chat.
Hey, Jared.
Ending. Hi, Jared.
Sorry.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for listening to my horrible, horrible synopsis of the Dark Crystal. And thank you so much for listening to our analysis. Thank you so much for the super chats and the questions and the support and the love. And once this is uploaded, please go, if you haven't already, go watch Wit and Folly's take on Reylo and the Dark Crystal. It surpasses mine by 100 million times. It is so good.
This live stream was just a promo for
this live stream was just a promo
Wit and Follies.
But we have to give credit where credit is due.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And we're doing this for the people who asked us to cover it. But go check out Wit and Folly. That analysis was dope sauce.
Yeah, it sure is.
Dope sauce.
Well, guys, before you go, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We also have all of our social media down below, our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Patreon. So go to one of those platforms and say hey to us. We love hearing from you. And we love you. And may the force be with you always. Peace, love, and Reylo.
Peace, love, and Reylo. Go get. Oh, I can't. Bye.
It's the dark side crystal.
Yeah. Smash the like button before you